Hi, everyone. Welcome. I wanted to introduce you to our guest today, a very special person to me. She is a good friend of my daughter's, and she's a princess. My daughter is a princess. So, hey, nothing better than that. I met her a few years ago, and basically, I have yet to see someone with so much energy, enthusiasm, so full of life that, speaking to her for 5 minutes, it really kind of makes your day. And you go like, so what exactly does she do apart from the fact that she's my daughter's friend? I'm going to pass it over to her, and little mystery here, pass it over to her and let her tell you a little bit about herself. Some of you will look at her and go, oh, I know this person. So let's see. Here you go. All yours.
Hi, how are you? Okay, wait, should I say
Hello, humans.
should I say that, or should I just say hi, Raju, what's up? This is so fun. I think we planned this a few months ago, and I'm so happy that we're on schedule and we're doing this exactly the way we planned.
Yes.
Thank you for that heartfelt introduction, because I feel like the best way to introduce someone is not the way I think the world wants you to introduce them, but the way you know them, and that's what makes
Very true.
the introduction really special. And
yeah,
it's true. Like, I mean, it's been a 13-year journey. I've been a professional actor for 13 years, but I feel like an actor in the last 5-6 years.
Good. Congratulations.
Thank you. And that again is like a new journey and a process within itself. So I'm an actor, pretty decent body of work, if I could say for myself. And one shouldn't be shy,
No, definitely not.
About the work that goes in, because usually you tend to like play it down. You'd say things like, oh, but no, that was nothing. No. It takes a lot of effort to actually do something that's of value. Forget about anybody else, but even in your own eyes, and I think that the work that today one tends to put out, and given the available mediums we have today, every work, no matter how big, no matter how small, is there for posterity.
It is. It's
data,
recorded. Yeah. And what you said is so true, because self-degradation is something that we do, generally, people do too much of. And I mean, forget about the world. I mean, there's always going to be people who like you. There's always going to be people who have negative things to say about you. But if you yourself don't believe in yourself, then it's, by the way. So for some of the people that might not be from India, this is Kubbra Sait, who is as she said, 13 years. She's been an actor. And I know she's involved in many other things, many other things.
I'm an author, I've been an anchor, I'm a storyteller. And
you're a stand-up comedian. You're a stand-up comedian as well, like hilarious. But you have very natural humor. So forget about stand-up comedy as a profession, but I mean, you're a humorist. You speak to people and you bring out the joy. That's very important in being a human being. And I think it's sorely lacking nowadays in the world that we see around us in many places. So I think one of the topics that we both kind of agreed on was the fact that we were talking about how do you project your charisma. I think nobody better than you could talk about that, purely because you're doing it all the time in your networking, in your meetings with people, on the screen, off the screen, everywhere. So, I mean, what is charisma to you?
In fact, I was looking up the word, like in terms of the etymology of the word, just before getting on our call, right? And it's a Greek word, at least the root is Greek. Yeah. And in Greek, it means favor or grace. So I
Yeah.
believe it's, that energy, and truly, like, people say, oh my God, their charisma it's something that stands out, but I feel
Yeah.
like in some way it's what they can do for others or what they're doing for themselves. I think it's really important for people to like just see that extension of you as a person. If they had to choose to come into your life,
Yes.
what is it that they we're all trying to seek something, right? We're all beings of energy.
Yes.
So what we
Yes.
emit is what we receive, or there are people
Yes.
willing to receive what we have to give, right? So that I
Yeah.
feel is that. So I think this sense of grace, with what I do, being a public personality, and I haven't been a public personality now. I've been a public personality since I was a child. How child?
Yes.
Because I was taking part in debates. So you're this child who is in the lit club, and there are
Yeah.
kids. I was bullied. That was like another life of mine. But then in another
Yeah.
life of mine, I'm there, presenting a to and a for and against a topic, and you have a whole school listening to you. So
Yeah.
you're always been there with more eyes than
Yes.
your probable
Normal.
like family or.
Yeah.
So I grew up with that, and I think I kind of learned how to say thank you and
Yeah.
accept
Yeah.
compliments with
Yeah.
grace. Then later on, it became a part of what I do, as in like an income streaming thing. I guess that's when it started getting more challenging, because then you're like,
Mm.
1 second, am I really
Yeah.
this person?
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I
Yeah.
actually always this happy? And then
Yeah.
you take it even further. In the last 10 years, we've had social media where we have the pressure of just wearing your personality. And what is your personality? I don't even think we tend to ask ourselves, right? Who we are.
Agree. Agree. Yeah.
And I think for me, all of it came together. I was pretty much running amok, trying to put all my feelings and emotions and thoughts and the whole jumble together. And then COVID happened, where we all had to spend a lot of time by ourselves. I realized that I'm pretty decent with myself even when I was alone. I guess that's when I realized I have inbuilt charisma.
You entertain yourself while entertaining the
Yeah.
world. No, but I agree. I think charisma is all about sharing the grace. And that's what people catch on to, you being authentic. And people see through that immediately, because I think charisma is not something people can just put on. It's not an acting job. It's something that it really shines through from you directly to whoever is listening to you, well, be it an audience, be it an individual person, whether it's in a work environment, home environment, but people then look up to you. They get inspired by you. And I think that shining light is how I would define charisma. So dictionary or no dictionary, charisma is all about you sharing that glow with people and letting them be a part of the glow while you feel, and you're kind of embracing them in that glow, which actually makes sense. And it's being authentic. So as much as you can. I mean, I guess we have to be careful with our transparency sometimes. We don't become too transparent with everyone, but as much as is possible, you want to be authentic. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, that's something that I'm working on, because I'm a very trusting person, right? I
Yes.
have managed to maneuver like a good 40 years of my life by trusting people, because I've been on many adventures.
Why 40? You're only 26, right?
Yeah, मेरी त्वचा से मेरा उम्र का अंदाजा नहीं होता है. It's true.
You don't look at, yeah, definitely. I mean, you said 40 and I was going like, no, she's only 26. You look good. You look good for whatever age you actually are.
I sometimes act like I'm 12 and I need supervision, so that's okay.
No, but we all need that every once in a while, because we all have our child inside us. Unfortunately, people press it down too much. I think sometimes we need to let him out and play. Him or her or them or they or whatever they call it nowadays. There's so many pronouns. I try and avoid that, but let the inner child come out every once in a while to play.
Yeah. I mean,
I think you do that beautifully.
And just allow it to like be free. Oh, why were we talking about this? Now I forget. My brain.
Well, I said
you were asking me.
So
I'm actually learning. I'm learning every day because, I am a trusting person. So then when all of a sudden you're wired into more people than you imagined that you would ever be, I think, you believe like you have this many resources, it's for these many people, right? Like it's always and now increasingly my universe is expanding.
Yes.
There's a lot of learning that's happening. There's a growth that's happening. And I remember I was very anxious once because I was learning all these amazing things, right? And I felt like, I wanted to share. And I felt I wasn't meeting the same wavelength of people whom I could share with, like what was happening. And I called this other friend of mine who's an actor. His name is Adil Hussain. I called him and I said, but no one understands. It's such good news. And Adil asked me, why is it important for everyone to know the good news?
Yeah. And some people don't get it immediately. But what was your answer to that? I'm very curious.
So why should everyone know the good news? I just said, why should everyone know the good news? It's maybe logic, right?
Well, I would.
I am such a sharer, na. Matlab boundary. मैं अब सीख रहा boundary.
But I also feel I would usually turn back that question to them and say, but why shouldn't everyone know? Right?
It's
I mean,
true.
whether they accept it or not, or they want to take it in, that's their choice.
Yeah, no. So my learning comes with the caveat कि मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ तुम समझ रहे कि नहीं? Time waste मत करो मेरा को 4 और duty पे जाने का.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, interesting. But from what little I know of you, because I mean, yes, I've known you for a few years, but the thing is, we've actually physically met like a couple of times because of travel and all that. But from what little I know of you is you are a person who likes to take in a lot of knowledge. So you like to learn things from wherever, podcasts and books. And I know you read a lot of books and you look at you watch a lot of movies, not necessarily for the pleasure or entertainment factor, but also for the learning factor. So, I mean, is that something that you would suggest and advise people to do, and why?
I believe education and learning has changed so much since I last went to school, right? And I went to school like 20 years ago. 2 decades ago, it was a lot of pressure. So if you asked me what I wanted, or what I enjoyed, I probably didn't enjoy anything.
Yeah.
Because everything came with a win or lose situation.
Yeah.
A fail or fly situation. And that was something that is really tough to deal with after a certain point. So you really are so clouded in your head and constantly running on a flight or fight mode कि यार तो life ही बर्बाद हो जाएगा if I don't do this well.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't think I necessarily enjoyed anything, right? I just got by. And I got by pretty well. Like my grades were pretty decent. I was not a dud.
A nerd. You were not a nerd.
I wasn't a nerd, but I wasn't a dud. I just managed to get through really well. Maybe charisma, maybe just good luck. I don't know. But like all my exams and everything, I did pretty well. But I think only when I became an adult, I started appreciating many other things that I had not done before. I had no access to friends. I learned what it means to have friends. I was exposed to travel. So then I realized that the more you travel, the more there is to see in the world. I started traveling alone. So then I was not afraid to sit in a coffee shop and ask a stranger about where else I could go, for the rest of my trip, and take notes like that.
Right. Right.
Like today, probably it's a lot easier. I could sit in a coffee shop and go through Instagram and it'll give me, but I'm talking about like 10, 12 years ago when you still had to go and talk to strangers.
Right.
And I feel there's a lot of merit in doing that. You learn constantly. Like I would listen to a random, Spanish song, or I would listen to a random, show suggestion in Turkey.
Yeah.
Or learn about a different food that I've never eaten before. So the curiosity in me started to build. And then I was trying to figure out, how do I quench this curiosity? Now I think I'm just more disciplined about it. Like, oh, I enjoy it. I want to do it like this morning I heard a podcast on physiotherapy and this and that. So I enjoy stuff.
Yeah. It's an opportunity. Yeah, it's an opportunity to learn new things. It's an opportunity to grow yourself. It's an opportunity to develop. And sometimes it's only to satisfy the curiosity in you. But have you always been like that as a child? Like in terms of a couple of things, like your curiosity factor, that's one. Your confidence level in basically just approaching anyone with, is that something that you've always had, or you've developed it?
No, I think there are about 2 or 3 very clear phases, right?
Okay.
So the phase where I didn't know and I was bullied and I was still like a child and like terrible. Like if people said you're bad, then I was bad. If they made fun of my name, then I wanted to change my name. If they hated my eyes, then I don't know what I would do with my face and my eyes. But it was like, you just feel like uncomfortable in your body and you feel uncomfortable in your mind. And children did that, and school teachers did that, and it wasn't very comfortable. So that's one phase where I didn't, and I was miserable.
Right.
Then came this other phase where I was 13 and I went to a summer school. It was called Buoyancy, and my godparents, Ajit uncle and Sadhna Kaikani, were running this summer school for kids. And my mom took me there, and it was called the Personality Development Program, where I learned.
Yeah, you had mentioned this to me. Yes. But please, for our podcast listeners, I think it'll be very useful. Go ahead.
So I went to Ajit uncle, and it was very interesting that now, much later, many, many years later, I was watching something on Instagram, and it said the most common chakra to be blocked is the throat chakra, which is why the number one fear in the world is public speaking.
It is. Yes.
And I felt that now I understand that what Ajit uncle and Sadhna auntie did for me was they opened my throat chakra.
Yeah.
They taught me how to speak.
Right.
They taught me that confidence. Now, the beauty of something so strong as a belief system, and this is why I was asking you if you watched Inside Out 2, and I request everyone who's watching this to go watch Inside Out 2.
Inside Out.
Please watch Inside Out 1. You will enjoy Inside Out 2 that much more, because it's basically talking about emotions in your brain.
Interesting.
And it's an animated film. And this time though, I went to town. I watched it on IMAX and 4D. So all the emotions were in my face.
Wow.
It was great. So it's a fantastic movie to watch. I think this is a kind of belief system. When you know you're confident, you know you're confident. When you know you're good. And it may happen that you may forget. Or you're picking, out of a really packed, thought puddle. And you're not landing on the right belief. But I promise you it's there. So when I lost it in the third phase was another phase of me learning who I am.
Yeah.
Which was Dubai, early, Mumbai. There was more angst. There was more rush. There was more uncertainty. There was lots more insecurity in me as a person because where am I? This is new.
Yeah.
This is not, so you're holding on to like whatever little you really know. I feel that was a challenging phase. But then again, when you live life, you understand that, wait, I'll find my mojo again. And I did find my mojo.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
and
know?
the mojo is always there. It's just
it's
that, and it's, I mean, in our, whether we do classroom training for corporates, whether we do personal development, individual, executive coaching, etc. One of the things we mention is that we find that people do have everything inside. Like you said, the mojo is there, but it gets sometimes overshadowed by all the negativity and the comments that you hear around, or people saying something about you, and you kind of go, maybe I'm not that good. Maybe I'm,
Yeah, sometimes we don't even tell ourselves that that person is talking bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I remember watching this interview, and it's really famous. It's everywhere. I don't know. I think it's Keanu or one of them, because he's really cool. Like, he's really cool, right? So it's like, what do you do when people have a problem with you? Like, so he says, like, do they have my number? And he says, no, if he doesn't have my number, then he can't have a problem with me. Or something like that. I'm paraphrasing really badly.
He doesn't have direct contact.
He doesn't have a connection to you, brother. Like,
exactly.
I remember as a child, like, Ajit uncle used to say, if someone calls you oily boily or oily girly, are you oily? No. Then how can you feel bad about oily girly? Like, he can call you whatever. If you don't understand, if you don't attach like a preconceived meaning to this, right?
Yeah.
If you don't attach it, then I think words are words. But the minute you attach, and that's when it's really important that you use like good words to feed yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's, go on.
Sorry, I just had like this brain fart.
Yeah.
We incorrectly use words so many times. Like the other day, I had an aha moment. I met someone who I know for a very long time, and along with him, I met another person. Now, in my brain, I was like, so when I got a chance to speak to this person, right, I said, I do. That's what I thought. I recognized you. I feel like we don't even use the word recognize as often as we use the word, I know you.
Yeah.
You don't know anybody, man. I recognize
you.
And when that happened, and it's such a small thing,
Yeah.
I don't but I give myself awards for this kind of aha moments, right?
Yes.
I'll go buy myself an ice cream. I'll go buy
celebration.
Yeah,
personal
this is a
celebration
big moment, right?
Yeah.
Because with this one bit of awareness, now I will like simplify so many other things in my life. If I just recognize you, what you say to me, is it going to matter as much as if I know you? If I know you're my critic, do I expect you to be kind to me, or just give me what you think and what's on your mind? The minute I start assigning roles, and my expectation towards people automatically starts, because we cannot be wholesomely trusted. We cannot be wholesomely just yourself. Like, is this charisma real? Is this charisma not so real? Right? No, what I think I'm doing is I'm playing a music in my head. There is an echo, there is a fall, there's a rise, there's a reverb, there's a something. And that's what eventually makes it. No two notes are the same. So I think that's what I'm learning today about tuning in and out.
But I mean, I agree with all that. I think unfortunately it's the upbringing, it's the environment that we've been brought up in, where we are told to care about what other people think. And I think because of that, that sensitivity, you should be sensitive. I don't say that you shouldn't be sensitive, but I think we've taken it one step too far. So if people say anything negative, it kind of, lag gaya, it hurts. And then we start, repeating it in our brain. And then from a small point, we make it into a big, big mountain,
And you know
and
what's funny? When
that's,
someone says something nice to us, we don't replay it so many times.
no, we don't. We don't. That's the thing. We're kind of happy for a short while, and then we still remember the negative one that the other person said. But that's just human nature, unfortunately. And I think going back to our initial conversation or initial wording of charisma, I think all this falls into that, is being able to shed the negative away and still shine brightly, be positive, affect people positively. You mentioned earlier about being competitive or in school because it was all about win or lose. I always use this example. Our world has changed quite a bit. We used to be, whether you're in a school for an examination, whether you're on the sports field, it's always about getting to number one, number two, number three, maximum, right? You don't want to go less than that. And you only got awarded for being number one, right? Maximum 2 and 3, consolation, right? Nowadays, I think some of the parts of the world and certain entities have changed a lot, where you are given awards and rewards just for participation. So I think it's gone from one extreme to the other extreme, and a lot of parents tend to do that a lot. I'm not sure it's actually building a charisma. It's actually making them complacent instead. It's like, I don't need to compete because, hey, I still get an award for involvement. So,
Yeah.
I think it's all about, if you really want to shine in this world, then you need to shine. And I think being genuine,
No,
being
but
authentic.
I feel like my friend Malini says this really beautiful thing, and she learned it from somewhere, and it's in her book. She says you don't have to unscrew someone else's light bulb to shine your own.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know?
Screw your
and
own
I really
tighter.
like
That's all.
You don't need to go about unscrewing other people's light bulbs. Do you know how much effort that takes to shit on people?
Yeah. But it's
I
the
don't
way
have that kind of energy, I'll tell you that.
I don't have the time for that. I mean, when I was a lot younger, and for me it is a lot younger. I remember being around a bunch of guys. We went out for a drink. I've never had alcohol ever since. I don't usually drink, but when you're a teenager and stuff like that, you tend to go out for a drink or two. And I don't know why, even guys, they would sometimes love to talk about other people. Oh, so and so did this. Oh, so and so. And I used to get so bored that, why are you so worried about what other people are doing? Why don't you do something good for yourself instead? But they're so focused on everyone else. And that's, I think, relates to your friend's comment about unscrewing other people's bulbs, because they're so worried about what the other person is doing, whether the bulb is loose or tight, that what about your own bulb? Why don't you get that fixed? But they're not doing that. So it's kind of strange. But have you changed a lot in, I guess, the last 10, 12, 15 years?
I think I've changed a lot. But the beauty is that, and it's quite reassuring, if I may say so myself, that I have friends who've known me like since I was in school, while I was being bullied, which I don't remember. And then I know people who know me through my college. I know people who know me through my initial years of work.
Right.
And they're not my best friends, but they are people, right? And when I speak to them now and then, some are friends, some are not. But the beauty is everyone says, oh my God, I still remember you to be like this crazy person only, yeah. No, this person only. Same energy you had then also. Same energy you have now. I feel that's a good thing.
It is.
That I have been able to hone that. I feel like it's easy to kind of lose that way because the world
pushes you into a different direction sometimes.
No, actually, you know what? It's true. Maybe I did feel a lot like under duress and under debris. I'm pretty sure I've been there.
Yeah, no, I'm sure all of us have. But I
But the
do
point
believe,
is, then you
yeah,
find a way to crawl out. I'm just saying
agree. Yeah,
that it's
yeah,
not easy to. No
yeah,
one's saying it's easy because I've put in the work. I speak for
yeah.
myself. It's not easy. It's
No,
very uncomfortable to do what you don't know.
agree,
But when you do it, you will see results.
agree,
When you
agree.
see results, you please latch on to that because no one else but you is giving yourself hope.
Yes,
Because you're the one making the changes. And the more changes you make, more consistently you stick to those changes, slowly but surely, the result is for you to see. This is not
agree,
anybody else's journey. This sense
agree.
of like, oh, I want to show up as my best version
Yeah,
is something that only you can achieve. That
agree.
whatever best version is, right? It does not exist
Yeah,
in
yeah.
anybody's brain for you.
No, and it doesn't matter whether they agree with it or not, but it's your best version, and you believe that. I would only add one step before that is before
Yeah.
you make the change, decide
Yeah.
for yourself,
True.
is this the right change? Do I want this change? And how badly do I want it?
Yes.
Because that fire within is what is going to drive you.
Yeah.
Having said that, going back to your past, when you said some of your friends believe that, oh no, I remember you the same way, as crazy as ever. I kind of have a tendency to believe that. I think you were always this little child in an adult body, bringing life and joy and everything to anyone. I do believe that. Have you matured since then? Of course we have. Have you grown in certain aspects? Of course you have. The more confident, more able to communicate effectively, much better than at that time. But the inner bubbly innocence that you had then, I think you've kind of maintained that ever, even now. I think that's a good thing.
I'll take that. Thank you. I'll take
I
that.
think that's very good.
I'll take that.
Oh, you should. You deserve it, and it's all yours, totally. We had said we were going to do this podcast for about 30 minutes. Would you believe it? It's been 30 minutes. Yeah, it's like amazing. I don't believe. I'm looking at my timer and I'm going like, are you kidding me? It's done already? That's crazy. But this is what happens when you're having a heart-to-heart communication with someone and you're enjoying the company. And at least I'm speaking for myself. When I'm enjoying the company, time flies. So in order to end this kind of podcast in a more, I mean, you and I can catch up separately, obviously, but officially to end the podcast, what word of advice would you have for all our listeners out there today? Being the successful public figure that you are, as well as being the successful human that you are.
There is no one advice.
Oh, give a few. I don't mind. Knowing you won't.
There
You'll
is
never
no
have
advice.
only one. No advice.
You know what? I think there's a lot within us that is stopping us from achieving whatever's in our head, whatever we feel really drawn towards. But because there is like a fear.
Yeah.
And usually the fear is the unknown.
Yes, it is.
In any and every context, it is the fear of the unknown. And I can assure you this with all honesty, it is in that unknown where I have discovered incredible aha moments.
Yes,
totally. You do it once and you can do it again and again and again and again. But it's the first time when you don't know. And it's an exhilaration, right? It's like an
Yeah.
that moment where there is nothing, there is no signal between your brain and your heart and your gut. There's no signal. You're just white noise.
Yeah, just a hollow pit here,
Yeah, that's the unknown.
Yeah.
And we all have faced it physically.
You
know this feeling, right? Go with it.
Yeah.
When you know, first decide what you want to do. That's very important.
Yes. Don't
don't
jump
randomly
into
do
it.
because they ask you to. First check what you want to do. Then you go, boss. Because that fear is for that split second of the unknown.
Agree.
And you can do this as experiments, right? Do it with adventure. You know, do it with, like, for example, going for a movie alone, because you've never done it alone.
Exactly. Yeah. Very true.
Go and eat a meal, like at a restaurant.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not saying go out there and adopt a belief system for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm saying
people feel it's very strange. How can I go alone to a restaurant and eat? Hey, try it. You might actually end up enjoying it more than anything else. You never know. But if I may, on your behalf, there's a couple of words of advice. I think what you said was clear the dirt in your mind, clear the air, for everyone. I think that's a good advice for everyone is don't hold on to the negatives. You need to kind of let in the positives, at least keep a balance. And, because we are human, I can't say get rid of all the negative, keep all the positive. That's not possible.
No.
So at least keep a balance, But right now what we do is we have 9 of negative, maybe 1 of positive, and we forget that positive very quickly. So balance it out a little bit. All right. Try out, because, we've heard these famous sayings from so many people in the past. Face your fears. Everyone said face your fears, but nobody's actually told you what exactly do you mean by that. Well, you just gave a few examples. I can't go and watch a movie alone. Why not? Go. Who's stopping you? You. You're the only one who's stopping you. There's nobody going to say, sorry, ma'am, you're alone, so you can't come for the movie. Nobody's going to say that. Ma'am, we don't serve individual diners in this restaurant. Nobody's going to say that. So, but you are always worried about, what will other people say? Well, this is the time to say, let them say, because people will always say. There's always going to be something for them to say, And out of 10 people, if 3 are saying something, take it in your stride and move along. I don't think it's a big issue.
I don't think it's a big issue either.
Right? So I think a couple of very, very good pearls of wisdom from Kubbra Sait that all of us can actually live and adopt and live a more beautiful and positive life. And be as bubbly as Kubbra, if you can. I don't think it's possible to be as bubbly as her, but hey, get there. You start working towards it. You're going to get there at some stage. So listen, Kubbra, thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
You really light up, the evening, the day. For me, it's evening. For you, it's also evening now. Yeah, it's also evening. Mine is going into night. So it's like 8 something. So, but, it just makes your whole day worthwhile and satisfying, because now I can go back to work tomorrow full of energy again.
Hey.
and watch your Hello Humans videos, or clips. Yeah. Listen, thank you so much, sweetheart. It's been really, really good.
And thank you everyone for listening. Bye.
Yes, thank you. Hope you got some value out of it. I hope, there's so much advice, so much stories that you hear from these podcasts. You're not going to apply everything from there. Pick and choose. See which one actually works for you, which one actually drives your personal ambitions, and go for that. And try it out. One more advice was, try it out in smaller things. When we say face the fear, don't go for your biggest fear and go after it, because that you're going to kill yourself.
I'm scared of water. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I don't know, surfing. No.
Start with smaller things And as you start achieving your smaller fears or overcoming your smaller fears, you will find, hey, I can do this. This is okay. And then you'll gradually increase from there. So to our next time, thank you very much for listening. Hope you get some value out of it. As usual, that is our main purpose for having these podcasts. And Kubbra, personally, thank you. I know you have a very, very heavy schedule most of the time. Thank you for being able to pull out this timing for us. And I'm really, really looking forward to meeting up with you as soon as we can and catch up for a meal or something.
For sure.
All
Bye.
right. Take care. Bye.